5:17 local time. North Atlantic, Sea State 2. Visibility clear. On the flight deck of a United States Navy aircraft carrier, yellow shirts guide an F/A-18 into position. Deep below the deck, reactor output remains steady. Radar screens show nothing unusual. Then sonar cuts through the morning calm. Con, sonar, transient spike, bearing 087, high-speed cavitation. The voice is calm, no panic, no emotion, just information. Inside the Combat Information Center, every head turns toward the acoustic display. The pattern is not marine life, it is not surface interference. It is mechanical, aggressive, and sustained. Con, sonar, additional transients, multiple contacts, standby. A second passes. Confirmed. 3 separate screws, fast movers. Then the words no one wants to hear. Torpedoes in the water. General quarters sounds at once. Red lights flash through the carrier's passageways. Watertight doors begin sealing in sequence. Sailors move at a controlled run. No shouting, no confusion. They have trained for this moment again and again. Now the drill has become real. The tactical action officer steps forward. Range estimated 9,000 yards. High speed, bearing steady. 3 inbound tracks converging. On the surface, the carrier holds course for 3 more seconds, just long enough to refine the tracks. Then the order comes. Helm, right full rudder, flank speed. A Nimitz-class aircraft carrier displaces more than 100,000 tons. It does not turn like a destroyer. Every maneuver is a contest between steel, water, physics, and momentum. But even a small change in heading can disturb a torpedo's solution. The escorts react first. 2 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers screening the carrier's swing outward, their screws biting hard into the Atlantic. Behind them, towed sonar arrays trail through the water, searching for confirmation. TAO, confirmed classification. Acoustic data races across the display. The signature is not American, not Allied. Blade rate matches known Russian torpedo profiles. Waycombing logic is likely active. That means these tracks are not simply following sound. They are following the ship. Time to contact, under 3 minutes. At the carrier's stern, the first layer of underwater defense is deployed. A N/SLQ-25 Nixie decoys splash into the sea and stream behind the hull. They begin broadcasting a larger, louder acoustic signature, something more tempting than the carrier itself. The goal is simple: make the torpedo choose the wrong target. Beneath the surface, the geometry tightens. Track 1 shifting, possible decoy acquisition. For one brief moment, relief flickers through the room. Then it disappears. Track 2 holding center mass. Track 3 still inbound. No deviation. At least one of them still has a clean solution. Inside the CIC, the commanding officer does not raise his voice. Maintain formation integrity. Log everything. Because this launch did not come from far away, it came from inside the defensive ring. Con sonar, new contact bearing 091, submerged, depth 150 meters. There it is, a submarine. Close, too close. The nearest destroyer sends active sonar pulses into the water column. The ocean answers with sharp metallic echoes. Submarine contact firm, Russian acoustic profile. No one says the obvious out loud. This was deliberate. From the forward escort, vertical launch hatches open. Stand by ASROC. A rocket-assisted torpedo ignites and climbs into the sky, arcing out over the water before plunging into the sea near the submarine's last known position. Seconds later, a heavy underwater shock rolls through the Atlantic like distant thunder. The carrier shudders, not from a hit, but from pressure wave resonance. Torpedo range 6,000 yards. One inbound track begins to veer. The decoy is working, another does not. 4,000 yards. The carrier continues its turn, the massive hull leaning into the maneuver. Every degree matters now. On the flight deck, aircraft are chained down. Crew members hold position. No one speaks unless they have to. Above the surface, the Atlantic still looks calm. Below it, 3 fast-moving tracks are closing on the largest ship in the strike group. 3,000 yards. The escorts tighten their arc. The submarine is trying to slip deeper, but it launched from inside the screen. It will not get away easily. 2,000 yards. The final torpedo holds course. The margin for survival is now measured in seconds. 0520 local time. The ocean is no longer quiet. Con, sonar. Inbound torpedoes now 5,000 yards. 2 holding steady, 1 oscillating. On the bridge, the helm responds instantly. Right full rudder applied, coming to new course. The carrier's bow begins its slow, powerful swing to starboard. At flank speed, a Nimitz-class hull can push beyond 30 knots, but acceleration is not immediate. It is measured, heavy, controlled. Inside the Combat Information Center, the tactical action officer watches the solution tighten. Recommend evasive pattern delta. Continue decoy deployment from the stern. More acoustic countermeasures slide into the Atlantic. The Nixie arrays trail behind the carrier, vibrating through the water and broadcasting controlled noise. Their purpose is not to stop the weapon by force. It is to confuse it, to become the louder, easier target. Beneath the surface, the first inbound track begins to hesitate. Track 1 deviating, bearing shift 10 degrees. It is taking the bait. Track 2, negative deviation, still center mass. That one is different, more stable, more dangerous. Likely operating in active mode, not only wake-homing. If it loses the target, it may be able to reacquire. Track 3 lost momentarily. Stand by. Lost does not mean safe. It means no one knows exactly what it will do next. The nearest escort, an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, drives directly toward the threat axis, putting itself between the carrier and the incoming vector. It is not instinct, it is doctrine. The screen exists to absorb risk before it reaches the high-value unit. Destroyer 1 is deploying countermeasure rocket. From the destroyer's deck, a compact anti-torpedo interceptor launches. It is built for one purpose: enter the water fast, close the distance, and meet the incoming weapon before it reaches critical range. Inside the CIC, the range calls Titan, 3,500 yards. The submarine contact is still active. Sub bearing 091, increasing depth. Now 200 meters. The Russian boat is diving, trying to slip beneath the thermal layer, where sonar returns become harder to read and acoustic signatures can distort. But it launched from inside the carrier's protective geometry. There is no clean escape route. Recommend second SROC. Approved. Another vertical launch hatch snaps open. A rocket-assisted torpedo erupts from the forward escort, climbing hard into the morning air before arcing over the water. Seconds later, it drops into the Atlantic, searching for the submarine's last acoustic trace. Below the surface, pressure waves ripple outward. Track 1 decoy contact confirmed. A low underwater thump registers across the sonar display. The first weapon has followed the noise. No damage. Track 2, now 2,000 yards. This is the one that matters. On the carrier, damage control teams are already in position. Fire teams stand ready with breathing equipment. Flooding control kits are staged near vulnerable compartments. No one waits for an impact report before preparing for one. Interceptor away. The escort's anti-torpedo round enters the water at speed. Unlike the inbound weapon, it is designed for a short, aggressive intercept. Range 1,500 yards. The carrier continues its turn, screws churning hard, forcing the torpedo to constantly update its predicted path. Track 3 reacquired, bearing shifted, possible reacquisition on main hull. That means 2 threats may still be active. Range 1,000 yards. Inside the CIC, voices remain level. Brace for shock. The interceptor reaches the inbound track first. A sharp underwater detonation bursts across sonar. The display fills with interference and white noise. Possible intercept on track 2. Noise field obscuring confirmation. A pause. Track 2, stand by, stand by. The seconds stretch. Then the update comes. Track 2, no longer tracking inbound, likely neutralized. A single controlled breath moves through the compartment, not celebration, just release. Track 3, 800 yards and closing. The final torpedo is now dangerously close. Even without a direct hit, pressure at this range can damage hull plating, propulsion shafts, or underwater systems. The carrier leans harder into its evasive turn. Deploy additional countermeasures. Another decoy splashes into the Atlantic and begins transmitting a stronger acoustic signature than the carrier itself. Below the surface, the final track starts to waver. Track 3 showing oscillation. It is confused now, pulled between competing targets. 500 yards. The anti-torpedo system aboard the second escort activates. Interceptor 2 away. The defensive round dives. 400 yards. The CIC goes quiet except for the range calls. 300. Then a violent underwater blast erupts short of the carrier's hull. The shockwave hits like a hammer, rattling consoles and vibrating deck plates. The carrier shudders, but she holds steady. Shock absorbed. No immediate flooding alarms. A final sonar update follows. Track 3 terminated. 3 torpedoes launched, 3 torpedoes defeated, but the submarine is still out there. Subcontact bearing 088, speed reduced. It failed to reach the carrier's hull, but the threat is not finished. The hunt is about to begin. 0522 local time. The final pressure wave rolls through the ship and fades into the steel. Consoles tremble. Overhead piping hums. Then the carrier steadies. Damage control report. Updates arrive compartment by compartment. No flooding between frame sections 120 and 180, no propulsion casualty, no fire, no structural breach. 3 torpedoes were launched. None reached the hull. but the engagement is not over. Con, sonar, submarine contact still active. Bearing 088, speed decreasing, depth 300 meters. The Russian boat is either damaged or moving carefully. Either way, it is still inside the strike group's defensive envelope. The commanding officer answers without hesitation. Shift to prosecution. With one order, the mission changes, from survival to control. On the flight deck, the first MH-60R Seahawk is already coming alive. Its rotors cut into the Atlantic wind as the crew chief gives the final signal. This is not a routine patrol launch. This is a hunter launch. Seahawk 1 airborne. The helicopter lifts cleanly from the deck and banks toward the destroyer screen. Beneath its fuselage is a loadout designed for undersea combat, sonobuoys and Mark 54 lightweight torpedoes. Below the surface, the submarine dives deeper. Sub-depth now 350 meters, altering course south. It is trying to break contact using the confusion left behind by countermeasures, shockwaves, and acoustic interference. But the escorts are already closing the geometry. Two Arleigh Burke-class destroyers form a narrowing arc, their towed arrays stretched wide through the water. Active sonar pulses begin again. Controlled, deliberate, relentless. Their purpose is simple. Deny the submarine silence. Contact regained, bearing steady. The submarine cannot outrun the problem it created. It fired from inside the carrier screen. Now there is no open escape path ahead, only layered detection. From 200 feet above the Atlantic, Seahawk 1 begins pattern alpha. Cylindrical sonobuoys drop into the sea one after another. Each one splashes down, activates, and starts sending acoustic data back to the helicopter and the strike group network. Within seconds, a grid forms across the water. Seahawk 1 has contact. Submarine confirmed, depth 380 meters, speed 15 knots. The Russian boat is slowing. That can mean damage or preparation. Recommend release. Approved. The Seahawk banks slightly and drops a Mark 54 torpedo. It enters the Atlantic with a controlled splash and begins its search pattern. Passive first, then active. Inside the carrier's combat information center, every movement is tracked. Payload in water. The submarine reacts at once. Sub increasing speed, deploying countermeasures. Below the surface, acoustic decoys bloom into the water. Bubble clouds, noisemakers, false signatures, all designed to pull the incoming torpedo away from the real hull. Mark 54 adjusting, tracking. Then a sharp underwater blast flashes across sonar. The display spikes white. Possible near-field event, sub-contact unstable. Not confirmation, but close. Submarine slowing rapidly, depth fluctuating. The Russian captain is now fighting for control. Seahawk 2 airborne. A second helicopter rises from the carrier deck, expanding the acoustic net. More sonobuoys strike the water. The grid tightens. Sub-contained, bearing 092, speed 5 knots. 5 knots is not escape speed. Seahawk 1, second release authorized. Another Mark 54 drops into the Atlantic. The torpedo dives, searches, and locks onto the contact. Sub attempting hard turn, depth now 400 meters. But the Atlantic here is not endless. There is no deep void to disappear into. The submarine has room to maneuver, but not enough room to vanish. Tracking steady. The seconds stretch. Then comes a second underwater blast. Closer, heavier. Sonar confirms the result. Structural failure sounds detected. Metallic breakup. Air release. The contact begins to come apart on the display. Sub-contact fragmenting. Debris signatures rise through the water column. A dark oil trace begins to surface above the contact area. Then silence. Con, sonar. No active propulsion, no maneuvering, no coherent contact. The Russian submarine is no longer fighting. The carrier maintains steady course while helicopters circle overhead, verifying the field. 3 torpedoes were launched at a United States aircraft carrier. None reached their target, and the submarine that launched them is now silent beneath the Atlantic. Inside the Combat Information Center, no one celebrates. There is no celebration, only documentation. Log time of final underwater detonation. Preserve full sonar record. Because this was not simply a successful defense. It was a live engagement between 2 strategic powers, measured in minutes, decided in seconds, and resolved by training, discipline, and geometry. Above the surface, the Atlantic looks unchanged. Below it, the fight is over. 05:27 local time. The sea has returned to calm, but no one in the strike group accepts calm as proof. Con, sonar, multiple debris returns, oil trace confirmed, no propulsion noise. The first Russian submarine is likely neutralized. Likely is not enough. Expand search pattern. Assume secondary contact until proven otherwise. Carrier strike group doctrine does not pause to admire results. It verifies. Two Arleigh Burke-class destroyers widen their arc, cutting disciplined lines through the water. Their towed arrays stretch farther behind them, sweeping for any acoustic signature that does not belong. Because a submarine operating alone is possible, but no one assumes it. Inside the Combat Information Center, analysts replay the launch geometry frame by frame. Initial torpedo bearings confirm firing solution from inside the perimeter. That changes everything. It means the Russian boat entered the outer screen undetected or used the environment well enough to hide its approach. Review thermal layer data. Reconstruct approach vector. The question is no longer only what happened to the submarine. The question is how it got close enough to fire. Overhead, the first MH-60R Seahawk remains on station, orbiting low above the water. Its crew deploys additional sonobuoys in a wider lattice, expanding the acoustic net beyond the debris field. Seahawk 1 reports negative secondary contact. The second helicopter shifts north and lowers its dipping sonar into the Atlantic. The transducer slips below the surface. A pulse goes out. Controlled, powerful, deliberate. The ocean answers back. Nothing. Negative contact north quadrant. The carrier maintains steady speed. Flight operations remain suspended, but ready. Deep inside the ship, damage control teams continue inspections through engineering spaces, searching for hidden stress, pressure effects, or shock damage that alarms may not have caught. Reactor compartments report nominal, shaft alignment within tolerance. The carrier is intact. But the strike group commander does not lower the posture. Maintain condition 1 ASW until cleared. That means anti-submarine readiness stays at maximum. Every sensor active, every helicopter prepared, every escort armed and watching. At 0534 local time, a faint anomaly appears. Con, sonar, transient northeast quadrant, bearing 035. The CIC tightens. Classification begins. Seconds pass. Biologic likely. Marine life. The tension does not disappear. It only changes shape. Because the submarine that launched 3 torpedoes was not moving randomly. It executed a calculated strike from inside a protected formation. That means preparation. That means surveillance. That means someone knew where the carrier would be. Request P-8 support. Far beyond the visible horizon, a Boeing P-8 Poseidon Maritime Patrol aircraft is vectored toward the strike group's position. At altitude, its radar sweeps broad arcs across the Atlantic, while onboard acoustic processors integrate buoy data streaming from the helicopters below. This is no longer a single platform engagement, it is a networked search. By 0542 local time, the oil trace has expanded. The debris pattern is consistent with a major hull breach. Small fragments begin surfacing. Composite shards, insulation, sections of metallic plating. Photograph and mark coordinates. Every fragment is evidence, every bearing matters. The P-8 reports clear surface lanes within 20 nautical miles. No additional submarine contacts detected. The Seahawk crews begin systematic confirmation passes, dipping sonar at increasing radius. Nothing. No second track, no shadow contact, no hidden propulsion signature beneath the layer. Slowly, the strike group shifts from active pursuit to controlled overwatch. ASRO C-tubes are safe. Helicopters rotate back to refuel and rearm. Readiness does not drop. Because in naval warfare, the most dangerous moment is often the one right after everyone wants to believe the threat is gone. 0555 local time. Final acoustic sweeps move through the water. Con sonar, no propulsion signatures, no cavitation, area clear. Only then does the commander give the order. Resume primary mission profile. Maintain enhanced ASW posture. The flight deck comes back to life. Crews move with purpose. Aircraft are repositioned. Catapult teams prepare to launch combat air patrol again. The carrier never stopped moving. It never stopped projecting presence. 3 torpedoes were fired at the center of a United States carrier strike group. None reached the hull. 1 submarine did not escape, and the engagement did not end in confusion. It ended with confirmation. Above the Atlantic, the early sun begins to brighten the horizon. Below the surface, the water holds the remains of a mission that misjudged American response time by seconds. On the carrier's bridge, there is no celebration. Only log timestamps. Only reconstructed vectors. Only one quiet conclusion. Inside a United States carrier strike group, there is no such thing as a single shot. There is only layered response, and the search continues until nothing answers back. 0605 local time. The Atlantic looks unchanged. Low swells, clear horizon, no smoke, no visible damage, no sign of what just happened beneath the surface. But inside the strike group, everything has changed. Secure from general quarters. Maintain modified ASW posture. The announcement moves through the carrier's passageways. Watertight doors reopen in sequence. Red lighting fades back to standard illumination. Sailors return to their stations, but the movement is slower now. more deliberate. 3 torpedoes were fired at a United States aircraft carrier. None struck. That fact will be entered into official logs. It will not be announced to the world. Inside the Combat Information Center, sonar records are already being archived. Preserve full acoustic record from 0515 through 0535. Every transient, every cavitation spike, every pressure echo, every return. Those files will move through classified channels and be analyzed frame by frame. Blade rates will be studied. Propulsion noise will be separated and compared. Guidance behavior will be reconstructed. Because survival is only half the mission, understanding is the other half. On the flight deck, operations resume in controlled phases, and F/A-18 taxis forward. Catapult steam vents into the cool Atlantic air. Within minutes, combat air patrol is airborne again. Not because the sky is the immediate concern, because posture matters. A carrier strike group does not stay paused for long. Below deck, engineering teams complete structural surveys. Hull stress within acceptable tolerance. No microfractures detected in primary bulkheads. Shaft bearings nominal. The pressure waves from the underwater blasts were significant, but the carrier was built for war at sea. Layered steel, compartmentalized design, redundant systems. Damage control did not have to contain flooding today, but they were ready. At 06:18 local time, a Boeing P-8 Poseidon completes its final surveillance sweep over the debris field. Coordinates are confirmed. No secondary contacts detected. The escorts, Arleigh Burke-class destroyers cutting disciplined lanes through the water, return to standard screen formation around the carrier. Their sonar remains active, but measured now. Still watchful, because the ocean remembers. On the carrier's bridge, the commanding officer reviews the timeline. Torpedo detection. Evasive maneuver initiated. Interceptors deployed. Final underwater blast. Prosecution authorized. Submarine contact neutralized. Minutes, not hours. That is the margin modern naval warfare operates within. Or no warning shots, no speeches, no public display. A submarine moved inside a carrier screen and launched 3 weapons. The response was geometry, speed, and discipline. In the ready rooms below, helicopter crews debrief quietly. Sensor operators replay thermal layers and buoy spreads. Pilots review release parameters for the Mark 54 drops. No raised voices, no drama, only procedural clarity. First weapon, near field effect. Second weapon, confirmed structural breakup sounds, professional, precise, clinical. On deck, a junior sailor pauses briefly at the rail and looks out across the Atlantic. There is no visible sign that anything happened here. No marker on the water, no scar on the horizon. But somewhere beneath the surface, twisted metal rests in cold darkness. And above it, the same carrier continues on course. At 06:45 local time, the strike group resumes full mission profile. Aircraft cycle. Escorts rotate watch teams. Sensors remain active. The formation moves forward, disciplined and intact. Communications remain encrypted and brief. No unnecessary chatter, no open broadcast. There will be no victory declaration, because this was never about spectacle. It was about defense, response, and control under pressure. And the lesson is clear. Inside a United States carrier strike group, there is no single point of failure. There is sonar behind sonar. Maneuver behind decoys, interceptors behind steel, airborne hunters behind surface escorts. Every layer supports the next. 1 torpedo can challenge a hull. 3 torpedoes challenge an entire system. Today, the system held. As the morning sun rises higher, calm light spreads across the Atlantic, reflecting off gray decks and quiet radar arrays. The carrier continues forward at steady speed. No deviation, no announcement, only presence. Somewhere far from this ocean, inside a secure operations room, analysts will examine the acoustic record of those 3 launches. They will measure every second. They will study the response, the timing, the geometry, and the decisions made under pressure. And they will understand what the Russian submarine discovered too late. Inside the screen, nothing moves without being hunted. Inside the screen, nothing fires without consequence. And when danger closes beneath the surface at high speed, the answer comes just as quickly.